tell me how you met Melissa and how you guys, because you guys had a great friendship and always did. How did that happen, and what was that?
And I have to say, it is preferable developmentally and psychologically, and just having a good time. You are so much better off if you get on a show with a bunch of kids than the only kid. I will put that out there now. All of my friends who were the only kid on a show, and people who are shows with a bunch of kids. First of all, you have a group of children, so you can sort of defend yourself. It's like the adults who are giving you a hard time. You have kids you can lean on. It's like being in school, so it's sort of normal. You have people to talk to. People who are it's like being an only child, some kind of weird thing. If you're the only kid on a show, you're interacting with adults, not even teenagers. You're actually 40-year-old people. That's where you get your 40-year-old midget syndrome. You're interacting with nothing but adults all the time. You're the only kid. There's nobody to. It's weird things that happen. So you are better off if you get a show with a bunch of kids. So we were like, yeah, score. So Melissa Gilbert appears like in a puff of smoke at Paramount. And as I said, she was so tiny. She was so tiny. I said I could fit her in my purse, and she could chew her way out if she had to, because she had not started the either of us had started the orthodontics yet. So she was like like a beaver, a small beaver with braids up to me. And she's so cute with it. And she starts going and telling me what's what and who's where and who's in charge, and she's nice to them, and then they're no good. And she's really great. And then she launched into a thing because she and Melissa Sue Anderson did not get along despite playing sisters. So she gives me the whole riot act about how just like awful Melissa Sue is. And isn't she like she's 10? She's 10. How bad? What are we talking about here?
Well, just to say again,
crazy.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but with Melissa. Yeah, I've always wondered about this because Melissa comes from a industry family as well. Her dad wrote Who's on First. He's a huge comedian.
Yeah,
so she and you have very similar, not the same, but similar influences and backgrounds. You've got the history.
Yeah. She was adopted, but as an infant. So her mom had been in show business, but her dad was Paul Gilbert, the actor. Paul Gilbert is all these movies, and her grandpa was Harry frickin' Crane, who did the producer of The Honeymooners. So she was before she was on Little House. She was on weird things. You ever seen like the Dean Martin Christmas special?
Yeah.
She's like this big. She's like a baby, and she's in a little Christmas dress. In the Dean Martin Christmas special. She was born on a set, like born in a trunk. Yeah, she was born in under a 10K light. It was just that's where she lived. So we did bond because we both had that thing of being raised by a bunch of show folk and being in show, and she'd been working since she could stand up straight. They had her in commercials. So we met. We're like yada 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 yada. Whereas Melissa, whose parents were not into that.
She was like Joan and Bet.
And so she was kind of, I think she was looking at us like, who are those two? Run away, get away. And so Melissa and I immediately like click. And like I said, when, with the fight scene, she can't be sick. I have to beat her up later. She just right away. And then we'd go for Slurpees at the 7-Eleven after work. We'd have slumber parties at each other's house. And today even, it's bonkers. We're like, we text each other, and when we've met up at these reunions and things, the hugging and the crying and
It's the Patrick Labyorteaux Show. Patrick Labyorteaux, he's the one you gotta know.